Number one definitely would be cash flow. That's consistently the biggest talking point whenever I interact with my clients. You need a strong bookkeeping and accounting process and system in place. And I would be surprised if any reasonable business person goes into business without thinking, I'm busy creating something of value, which hopefully in a few years I'm going to be able to sell.
So going into a very important topic, challenges that small businesses have. I still have Willem with me, and Willem, just understanding your passion for small businesses excites me about what we're going to speak to now. And it's just touching on 3 top challenges that small businesses have. So as an accountant, I mean, we are faced with those challenges together with our clients, right? Building your own practice up, you had multiple challenges, and then also getting to the point where you can actually see the challenges that the clients faces on a daily basis. So for you as an accountant, what are you seeing as the top 3 challenges that small businesses are dealing with in today's economy?
Yeah, good question. So I'd say number one definitely would be cash flow. That's consistently the biggest talking point whenever I interact with my clients. And cash flow in itself is a very interesting topic that one can unpack over many hours of talking. That's number one. I'd say number 2 would be the concept of scaling. Scaling your business. Every business owner faces that at one point or another. There is a reality when you start on day one where you necessarily as the business owner have to do some of the stuff or most of the stuff yourself. Because not all of us are fortunate to have a deep pot of gold that you can use as seed capital. So it's a bootstrap approach most of the time. But, you know, that inflection point when you start to employ people, you know, when is the right time to employ people? How do you then walk back and pay yourself less in order to get to that next level? But then beyond that, how do you create systems and processes that will help you replicate yourself so that you can get other people to help you? That's number 2. And then I think specifically in South Africa, just our business environment in general. It's a harsh business environment. It's very difficult to predict and plan. We don't have much protection from government in terms of policies and all that. Much less, you know, what comes from international pressures. So I reckon if you can successfully run a business in South Africa as a small business owner, you can go and do business anywhere. And I agree with that. But I think let's maybe unpack some points. You said, you know, cash flow, we can do a whole topic about it. I think let's maybe for the listeners really unpack it a little bit. So in terms of the challenges with cash flow, you know, what is the number one thing? Because from my perspective, you know, I see how tax mismanagement, VAT mismanagement, you know, all of a sudden the clients are using that money, then they need to pay SARS, all of a sudden they don't have cash flow for that. So how do you see mismanagement in cash flow and also solutions to solve the problem of cash flow? How would you explain that? Again, I'm going to try and focus on the most important things, but I would say philosophically at the heart of this whole conversation is access to data and information. You need a solid, and I mean, I'm biased, I know, but I'm justifiably biased because we see it day to day. You need a strong bookkeeping and accounting process and system in place. Now, whether you do it yourself or you outsource it, that's another conversation again for another podcast, I suppose. But you need to have a proper system. And what business owners typically do, and again, you know, I've got empathy with it because you start on day one and you've got to decide how to best allocate your resources. Are you going to buy stock, or are you going to invest in a good accountant? You know, it costs money. And so I see many business owners go with the former and think, well, bookkeeping services or accountants, it's a grudge purchase. I can worry about it later. But then when later comes, it's often too late. And then the costs associated with mopping up the what shall I say, the mop-up operations. It's infinitely more expensive than what it would have been if you started out well. So that's number one. Have a good system in place. Number 2, I would then say implementing certain disciplines. So the first discipline, let's start with your income. If you deliver income or you deliver a service or a product, when do you invoice? Do you wait a week before you invoice? or do you invoice the moment you deliver the service?
Exactly.
In fact, double down. Do a pre-invoice. Ask for deposit. And I know it's easier said than done because I mean, we face the same realities. But there must be a discipline where you are not a bank.
Yes.
You specialize in your specific product or service. You deserve to be fairly remunerated by your customers.
Definitely.
And so invoicing in a timely manner.
Yes.
Secondly, once you've invoiced, what do you do to make sure your customers pay you on time? That's a whole function within any healthy business that sometimes is not there.
Definitely.
So who follows up? Do you have automatic payments in place, etc., etc. So there's a whole conversation there. Definitely. The other thing I think would be to be very conscious about how you price.
Yes, 100%.
When you determine a price for your customers, how confident are you that price is going to give you more income than what it costs you to deliver the service or the product?
Exactly.
If you haven't considered that, if your cost is more than your what you sell for, you're going to lose. You're never going to make money. And then lastly, I'd say your overhead. So those are important disciplines.
Yeah.
And then you've mentioned about VAT and those things. When somebody pays you and you are a VAT vendor,
yes,
make sure that when you get the cash, the VAT portion, keep it separate.
Exactly.
Don't mix it with your operational cash flow.
Yeah.
Because you're going to use it, and then when you have to pay VAT, you're going to be in trouble.
100%.
And maybe lastly, and again, it's so many things you can unpack.
Yes.
Lastly, I would say is you have to plan. So,
correct.
Do you have a budget? Not just a budget. Do you check it? Do you compare it with actuals? And then do you have a cash flow forecast?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
No business owner deserves to be in a position where a day before they have to pay VAT, there's no cash.
Correct. Yeah.
You want to know about it 2 months in advance and plan for it.
And it's so amazing. All the points that you touched on now, I actually recently went through a situation where I saw with a client, he recruited me to just help them with internal processes. Everything you mentioned, they did not do one of that, right? So they didn't have a proper system in place. They didn't invoice on time. So when I started cleaning up for them, we all of a sudden, and this is a true figure, got 4 million rand worth of things that need to be invoiced. Right? Wow. Everything is just work in progress. So you get those clients, they're working on a project for 6 months or 12 months, but they don't invoice.
Yeah.
Job cards are lying around everywhere. So there's no system in place for them. So they don't know who owes their money. You know? And I think that's important what you mentioned is being able to have a system in place, also doing the invoicing, because now a lot of people, because they don't get the accountants up front, they start using a Word document or an Excel. There's no a real life data or of who owes their money and everything. And what I'm getting from what you're saying is actually just being able to get the money for the work you have already done.
Yes.
That's where the problem is.
Yes.
You've already delivered the service. You already got the client, but now you don't have that method of being able to draw that money in. Yeah. So amazing to touch on that. And so there's a question that's a part of this topic that I wanted to actually touch on, but I think I want you to incorporate it in all three points that you raised on the problems now is how important is a good accountant for a small business. So maybe just before we break down, because I want you to maybe touch on that in terms of cash flow, right? How good how necessary is a good accountant for a small business in terms of cash flow? But just in general, first touch on how important is it to have an accountant in your small business?
Yeah, and again, I'm biased because I am an accountant,
yes.
But I think it's a no-brainer. If as a business owner you are serious about investing and building something that's going to outlive yourself,
yes,
then having a good accountant is not negotiable.
Yes.
And I would be surprised if any reasonable business person goes into business without thinking, I'm busy creating something of value, which hopefully in a few years I'm going to be able to sell at a premium.
Yes.
Or I'm going to maybe be in the business until I pass away, and then I'm going to bequeath what I've built to my family or whoever.
Yes.
If you do your business without thinking like that, I seriously question why you're doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
So that's a starting point. And so like any good investment, you're going to not invest time and resources in something unless you are happy with the fundamentals.
Yes.
Having a good accountant is part and parcel of that. It's for the same reason that you're going to hire a proper lawyer to help you set up your contracts.
Definitely.
Or to defend you when you have to go to court, whatever the case might be.
Correct.
It's part and parcel.
And I mean, actually so profound, the problems that you mentioned, how so many of them are integrated and how the one leads to the another, you know. And so when we're looking at scalability, you know, and if we break that down a little bit, we're speaking about cash flow problems. So your cash flow has an impact on your scalability.
Yes.
And so as well an accountant, right?
Yes.
And how you need a good accountant in order to do that scalability. So in terms of that, in terms of scalability, you mentioned you start off as one person. Now you need to start employing people. How do you find a way? Because I think that's something that I also, the last couple of weeks, just started processing through, is being able to set an expectation. Like with me as well, with the accounting practice, when we started, in the beginning, it was only Desley. Right, and clients got used to me, they enjoyed it, like, wow, it's a one-man band. So now you get the premium package, right? So now you get to a point where you need to scale, you need to employ people. So how do you feel like, and what's your idea in terms of small businesses being able to use what they have as the entrepreneur, use what you have as Willem, and being able to scale that into your employees and into your staff?
Yeah, so obviously there's the cash flow angle to it, in terms of affordability.
Yes.
And that is something that will look different for every business, because you can only scale if you've got the ability to scale, and the money and all that.
Yes.
So you know, perhaps what I can focus on more is just like what practical steps one could do. And I think I can think of no better way than constantly, every single day when you wake up, and you analyze what you do in terms of activities, is to identify which of those activities is going to help you move the money needle the quickest.
Yes.
And then select one of those activities every day. And when you carry out that activity, document what you do.
Yeah.
But document it in a way that you can give it to somebody and they look at that document and they will be able to replicate exactly what you've done.
Yes. Yeah.
And the earlier you start with that process, the sooner you're going to be able to scale. Because if you don't do it, let's say you decide you're going to employ another person to help you with what you do. You can't just dump stuff on that person when they start on day one. You have to train them.
Yeah.
And you have to monitor them. You have to coach them. You have to mentor them. And then you have to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
In the absence of those documents, it's going to take you twice as long to do it.
Yeah.
Ending up costing you a lot more.
Yes.
So if you have proper documentation in place, the more it's documented, the easier it is to understand and read, the easier it will be to onboard a new person.
Definitely.
And replicate yourself faster.
100%.
If that's the only thing that people walk away with from that question, then I think it's a win.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's why even on the Bizin app, we created a business journal, because we understand the importance of being able to reflect on decisions you're making, being able to reflect on what's happening in your business, and being able to go back and see, last week I did this, right? Or 3 months ago I made this mistake. Let me not do it again, right?
Yes.
So, and then the third point you also mentioned was just like the climate, right? The economic climate we are in and the resources that South Africa gives us. So how do you encourage small businesses not to get demotivated in that, in the climate that we are in? And how do we start saying we want to build a better South Africa?
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's the answer to that question is probably part of why most people won't become successful business owners, because of the lack of resilience.
Yeah.
You need to be resilient. And I think the reality, and at least in my experience, is probably most days you won't feel motivated.
Yeah.
Most days you won't feel like getting out of bed and arriving and pitching up. And you got to find a way to push through that boundary. The best example I can think of in my own experience is, you know, if you run marathons, and I've run many marathons before.
Yeah.
I've run over 100 marathons in my life. And I can't think of one marathon where I did not hit the proverbial wall.
Yeah.
And I could have given up and then not finish.
Yeah.
And it's at that point where you have to say, I don't care how I feel right now. I need to push through. So I think staying motivated, there's many techniques one can use to stay motivated. But I think number one is you need to be super, super clear about why you've started your business and what is the end goal.
Yeah.
that should be your main motivator.
Yeah.
That's what's going to get you to get up every morning.
Definitely. And so as small businesses, we need to find the purpose. Why do we wake up in the morning? What are we doing the first thing in the morning to drive our business to move forward? Willem, great to have you here. Looking forward to our next one.
Amazing. Thank you.